Welcome back to the show. It is Reap the Harvest Live. Matt Tack and Pat Hilton. What's going on, my brother?
What's going on, my man?
Finishing the week strong. As you were telling me, you had some property damage at some complexes you run on Monday, but now you're closing some deals. You've made some shifts. Why don't you break that down a little bit for everybody?
We did. It's just been a busy week, dude. When it rolls in, you just got to keep your head high. You just got to keep that momentum up. Actually, I'll give a parallel. This week, I just saw a guy. Right, I know him. He's a friend of mine, and he was talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he said this, right? He's like, he said something on the lines like, if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers don't make the playoffs. So he started it with this, like, don't make the playoffs because they just picked up Leonard Fournette, because they have Tom Brady, because they have all these superstars. If they don't make the playoffs, it'll be as bad as their 0-16 season. You realize that mindset here, right? You're intentionally wanting them to fail. You're already in the mindset. You're manifesting that they're going to lose, right? Like, why would you ever manifest that? You expect to win,
Right?
Like, expect to win. Don't manifest that you're going to lose. Like, expect to win, right? If you lose, hey, you lose. You lose some, you win some, but you always expect to win. Like, I expect to win, right? I expect things to turn out favorably. I expect things to do things like you treat things good. Like, and so I just feel like that this week, right? Got hit with a couple hurdles, got beat up a little bit, lost a property manager this week, a real awesome guy, but we split ways just for the benefit of the residents and the overall the overall benefit of the complexes. So, and it was mutual, so it wasn't anything crazy, but it was one of those things where we expect, like, you just expect to make decisions that are going to benefit other people, right? When you have people in mind and you love people and you really care about people, if that's the purpose, then things kind of tend to fall in place, right? So,
Totally.
so that's the way I felt about this week, right? It just, like, yeah, there was hurdles, man. There was a friggin' tree that came down on a fence. There was,
to be honest, from my end, not knowing that, and then when we hopped on the call, and then you like turned the camera and showed that, I was like, oh,
yeah, it was a big ass tree. It was
huge.
So it's it's just one of those things where, and then just a couple other things kind of went down. It's like, you're dealt with these hurdles, but how am I moving forward, right? And so, but I expect good things to happen because I feel like I'm making good choices, right? I'm not going to manifest that, oh, if this happens, like, because we picked up this, and this, that we're going to, like, it'll be worse than this. Like, no way. I'm not going to manifest that. Like, I'm manifesting, like, what are the possible solutions that can happen? Yeah, there's going to be bumps and hurdles along the way, but you just got to keep pushing forward. So that's kind of like where we started the week. This has been like kind of a shift. And then deals started freaking rolling in like crazy. Like, we have, no joke, we have 2 deals we're closing in on the 16th that we're doing quick turns on. We have a closing happening, 2 closings happening on, like, right in that time frame. The middle of this month, it just mushed with a ton of stuff. My family came in town last night. I had my little girl barf on me this morning. It was amazing, dude. And it's freaking awesome, man. But literally, that's my mindset, right? If you don't feel blessed, you can't bless others, right? So that's just my mindset. Even this week is that, man, I was like even getting down on myself like this morning a little bit, and it happens like moment by moment. It's just these wild things that'll go through your head, and you're your biggest enemy a lot of times, But if you're manifesting these things that said, hey, like, no, like, man, I'm actually really, really blessed. Like, I actually felt unfortunate that I had to leave my wife because I had to go to work this morning, but I had to, I literally, I don't mean to get too descriptive here, but like, my little girl started puking and I grabbed her jaw and just let her puke into my hand. And then I just threw it in the toilet. Like, I was like flinging it out.
Dude, our kid puked all over the hallway the other night.
Twice. So twice this happened this
Ooh.
morning before I even got out the door, and I was out the door like 15, 20 minutes later. But and so then I'm like, oh my gosh, man, this is why I was away from you kids for a couple of days, you know? And then I'm thinking, I'm like, dude, that's the worst thing that I can think. I should manifest like how blessed I am that I freaking take my daughter's puke. Like that's still a blessing. Like at the end of the day, like
Yeah, it is.
I can like I love my child that much that I'm just willing to freaking put my hand underneath her mouth when she's just like, yeah, instead of picking her up and just throwing her in a bathroom, dude, I just like literally just like cut my hand and just like
You literally handled it. You literally handled it.
But it was then I was thinking, man, how blessed am I? Like I feel blessed. And if I can't,
Right.
if I'm not able, if I don't feel blessed, I can't bless others. So what's the intention? What's the purpose? And, you know, even for these complexes, it was coming down to where I'm thinking we're in really hard times. So a moratorium came out, right, from the CDC that said we can't evict people. It just said to the end of the year, you're not allowed to evict people. So then it comes down to, okay, well, there's some people that are going to take advantage of that, and they think that they probably are going to get a free place to live, right? Some people, when they see that, they're like, okay, then I can stop paying rent because I can't get evicted. The reality is you can go after back rent. So it's just like a mortgage. It's just like essentially a deferment in your mortgage or a deferment in your loan. You still owe it, but you're just getting a deferment. And the ability for you to catch up is like nearly impossible. So there was a few people that contacted me yesterday, and it comes down to communication. But there's a few people that came out to me yesterday. They're like, you know, can I get on a payment plan? Payment plans never work. Like 90% of the time, they just don't work. And I said, look, and I said to her, I said, look, man, the reality is I'm going to be completely honest with you. And I had to. So you're not going to catch up. But let's find other outlets that can get you to catch up. You know, it can't be forgiven either. But like, how can we find other outlets to catch up? This is the human element coming in, empathy.
Right.
You know, and we were talking about that the other day, Pat, right? Empathy. It's when the empathy, you know, thinking historically, don't look at present tense, look historically at sometimes you have to look historically. How did things get to where they are because of what happened in the past? You know, and it doesn't matter if you're black and white, you still have to look at it, right?
Right.
So anyways, I just said that, and I said, look, we got to create outlets for you, you know? And so anyways, we're working on for this, so a few measures. There's still obstacles, don't get me wrong. I mean, we have a lot of obstacles in play where it's tough. But, you know, I'm honestly going to celebrate the small wins. What am I manifesting day after day? You know, and I hate to, you know, be that, you know, prototypical preacher of like, what are you manifesting? You know what I mean? But it is one of those things where
basics add up. When you do the basic stuff, it all compounds, it all adds up, and you might feel like you're not getting results, but then all of a sudden you look back and you're like, oh, well, this is where I was and this is where I am. And that all that work added up.
It is. And I like this, you know, idea of Financial Friday, right? Because where are you? Because I always say you got to spend 2 times as much on yourself as you do anybody else. Because if you don't feel blessed, you can't bless. So it comes down to one of those things. Where are you filling that bucket, right? Where are you putting your money, you know? And is it in yourself? Is it in, you know, it's Financial Friday. You think of it in terms of not the monetary sense, but where are you filling your buckets, you know?
I was going to say that too. Andy Frisella has a show that he used to do. It's different now, but it used to be called the MFCEO Project. And he used to talk about how you have to treat all the different areas of your life like bank accounts. If you're not making deposits for your health or deposits for the health of your marriage or your family or your kids, then you're not going to see any returns. It's going to go empty. It's going to go negative. It's going to go into the red. You have to be making daily deposits and movements in all these different areas of your life, or you're not going to see any increases. So, you know, while finances is a word that is related to monetary things, where are you making deposits in your health? Like, I mean, man, I might not be the most model looking guy, but I work out every day because it helps my brain work better.
Right.
I gotta get out.
So important.
So
So
important. So all those little things add up. I make little comedy skits we were talking about this before I get on. I make comedy songs and skits, and I generally just do it to practice. So be on camera, be on the microphone, get things sounding a certain way. And while it might not look like anything because I'm just doing it for free, somebody messaged me the other day. They want to sponsor some of the skits I do.
love it.
So I was making those deposits, working on myself, and now I'm getting a return.
Absolutely.
It's awesome, dude.
Yeah. That's killer. That is so killer. That is 100% so accurate, because I've seen that firsthand. I've 100% seen that firsthand. And love it. That's a massive win. I love celebrating those wins, and I'm trying to even get better at other people's successes, right? That's important too. When you see other people have success, celebrate that with them, because who loves somebody that just can celebrate with, like, genuinely celebrate with you? Like, that is an awesome success though. Congrats, man. I love it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Love it.
And we were talking too about our wives the other day, and Megan's been working on just changing certain eating habits. You said Kelly was working on just getting up earlier. Megan's down like 17 and a half pounds or something.
Oh my gosh.
Just because she's just making certain things more available, making other things less available. It's just a choice thing. It's not that she like eats bad or anything, but over the course of 2 or 3 months now, she's seen an increase in, her weight loss goals because she cut certain stuff out, plain and simple.
That's kind of like what I was even saying. You tell yourself, like, I may not be eating bad, or whatever it might be. Like, you might not be eating bad, but
it's a consistency thing now.
It's a consistency thing. It's being cognizant of like what you are putting. I'm big on the brain health and how the brain functions, and just that's so important to me, right? And the running and breathing tactics. I had no idea how they're interrelated, but I'm big on health, and they call it the VO2 max, right? So it's your cardiovascular output, where a lot of people don't like. So what you need to try to achieve on a daily basis is your cardiovascular uptake. So like what you're pushing out is you're getting to a breathing point where you're struggling, right? And it doesn't have to be for a long period of time. We talked about this in way prior episodes, but like for 10 minutes.
We did this in high school all the time at lacrosse practice, where we'd run intervals.
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to do this, and they used to run us into the ground.
When you have that though, so I just want to go back to like me running. I've dropped probably about 12 to 15 pounds.
Wow.
In the past, probably about 3 weeks. And the reason why though, is because I've been running, and I always told myself like, oh, I'm not a runner. I don't like, but I'm like, honestly, I've gotten to a point where I understood my brain activities. I understand the chemical releases in my brain, right? And that same thing happens for food, right? When you look at food and you're like, oh man, I want that food. But when you cognitively are understanding, okay, is that it, do I need to make that a sacrifice to get to this, right? And so the journey is the destination, right? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a cardiovascular health because I want to do a triathlon, but I want to be cognizant and very present of what I'm participating in, the discipline of getting to that, right? Of just being very, very present with the journey along the way. And dude, that's awesome that Megan's doing that, because but like understanding the journey and the process it is to like whatever she wants to do. I don't know if she has like kind of an end goal in mind.
Yeah, I think that she was just dragging a couple days in a row there for a 3 to 5 day period, and was tired with the kids, and was just like, dude, I just feel crappy and ucky. And so maybe I make a couple switches, drink a little bit more water here and there, and cut certain things out, quit eating snacks at night or whatever. She likes to watch a show after the kids go to bed, and just little tweaks, and they made a difference. So
game changers. My one of my friends, she had reached out to me this week, and she said, hey, I saw what you were talking about and waking up in the morning. she's like, it's so painful, yet so rewarding.
Right.
Waking up in the morning. And John Maxwell says that, it's those who start first, right? It's not those who, have the best idea, or can, or the smartest or whatever it might be. It's those who start first. And he's talking about the mornings, right? Of getting up in the mornings, maintaining discipline, doing your thing, right? Mine's making my bed and going through my routines in the morning of, simple as brushing your teeth, drinking a couple glasses of water, getting some breakfast in you, working out, going through cardiovasculars. But those levels of discipline compound, right? Those level of consistencies compound. And it's tough, and you have to understand like kind of we're bringing on a guy. He was supposed to go on today. There was a little back and forth. We need to follow up with him. But George Abreu is a cool guy because he's got some young children too, a lot of success. But he kind of like pivots that directly off of his foundation point, which is obviously his wife and his kids first, and then has had some massive success. Loves working out. I follow him on social, so we'll dig into him even a little bit more when we talk to him. I think we're setting something up for the 25th, but those things are so critical, right? I mean, the levels of discipline, but it's gonna change with your seasons of life. When you're a single dude, I still would be strategic, but like with me, it's gonna be a lot different. Like I'm waking up, putting my kids together, getting them off to school. Like those level of disciplines and those systems that I'm bringing into place, those create the disciplines throughout the rest of my day and kind of where I'm at. So I highly encourage those, but where are you making your deposits? I think that's huge.
A good one.
That's such a good one, Pat, where are you making your deposits financially, right? And those, they don't have to be in monetary terms, but where are you making your deposits that are gonna have the compounding effect? And for me, at 100, I've been making deposits in people. It's all about love people. And when you can make those deposits in people, you can level up.
And we've been talking about the spiritual aspect too, which can be kind of unpopular with people. There's a lot of people out there who aren't into the religion aspect of spirituality, which is fine. I mean, I'll be honest, and my parents know this. I mean, I had to sit on the pew every Sunday when I was a kid, where I was a little Catholic boy, and so man, that pew, it's not comfortable. And so I think that I was like, every Sunday. But now that I'm older, I look back on the lessons that I learned. And again, the discipline associated with creating a foundation that is based on treating people with respect and love and not stealing. And, thou shalt not pretty much do crazy stuff, treat people well. That adds up too.
Yeah.
And I think that, those lessons and those foundations of bringing people together, we could always use more of that.
Yeah.
Whether you consider it religious or spiritual or whatever your term is for it. Stopping from it. Some people, it's the meditation that they find that peace.
There's
finding your peace or whatever it is for you.
And I think this is where it gets convoluted, right? I don't consider myself a religious person by any means.
Right.
I don't consider myself do I call myself a very deeply spiritual person? 100%. I think there's a difference between what we interpret as like, you're interpreting as a like religion, capital C church, where I have a deep personal relationship with my God.
Right.
And that's me independently of like whatever, if there's a church, and I don't go to church all that often. But
right. And times have changed a lot since I was a kid too. So my interpretation changed with time as well, which is good in my opinion.
But I mean, I'm deeply spiritual. Do I call myself, I'm a Christian? Yes, absolutely. Am I a follower of Jesus? Yes, absolutely. Like those are the things I have 100%. Like I call my spiritual fixation. Like that's my focus. That's my vision. But from that, right, from my deep connection with God, I feel like that's where my level of like blessing and loving others comes from, because I deeply love people, and John Maxwell calls it, there's less traffic on the second mile, right? When you can love people, when it's tough to that first mile to see things at face value. There's a lot of traffic in there, but if you can see through that and see through people and get to the second mile, that's ultimately, what it comes down to. So it's so important. That's such an important element of, like, for my life in particular. People get weirded out maybe a little bit over, talking about spirit, the spiritual, and then, even I call it abiding. What I try to do is abide. Like, I literally, I 100% hear the voice of God sometimes, and He leads me in directions. Sometimes I say yes, sometimes I say no. I mean, there was a lady the other day. I'm going to be completely honest with you, that we have I've been at our facilities a lot, bouncing back and forth because we're going over to a management company. So we have what am I trying? Washer and dryer hookups, and we don't
Right.
we don't maintenance those. A maintenance company actually comes in. So, anyways, there was a lady. She's like, "Oh, do you work here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I kind of work here. I help out management every once in a while." And so she's like, "Well, this thing took $1.50 from me." And I'm like, "Oh, man." And I'm like, "Well, there's a number on there, and you can call them up because we don't actually maintenance these, so if it's broke,
Right.
you can call up." And I'm like, this one's out $1.58. And then I hear something, and this is like that still small spirit, still small voice. Some people call it intuition, just goodwill. I call it sometimes a still small voice of God. And I'm like, boom, you got a $10 bill in your wallet. I never carry cash either. And I'm like, you got a $10 bill in your pocket. I'm like, oh gosh. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I'll pull out my wallet. And I'm like, I got to give it to her. So I give her $10. I'm like, here you go, Verda. Because I always ask people what their names are. I love not knowing names. I'm like, here you go, Verda. And she's like, $10? I'm like, yeah, get yourself some dinner with it too. I appreciate you. And then I just walked out. But I'm not saying that to brush off my shoulders. But the reality is that if I'm abiding, I feel like if I'm abiding and very present in the word, right, I'm able to bless, right? If I feel blessed, I can bless. And that's it. That was just in one small way. $10 isn't much, but that was just in one small way that I was able to do that. And I'll tell you, I probably got more out of that than she did, right? That was a deposit to her, but like I probably got out of that because that was a filler to me. So it was just cool, man. Some of these experiences are really cool. But yeah, I think ultimately Financial Friday, I think this is a great topic, but where are you making your deposits at, right?
Right. Because where do you want to see returns?
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've met people that were highly successful in one area, like making a whole lot of money, but their marriage fell apart. They had terrible relationships with their kids. Their kids were grown up, and it wasn't something that was, admirable in that area. But sure, they sure had a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean,
money with no
I've seen that before, and I think that there's it's hard to balance when you really want to, crush at the money game. But again, we look at guys we know like Mark Evans. Man, Mark's out doing driving range and 9 holes of golf with his son, and then he runs and does some meetings or does whatever he needs to do, closes some deals, and they're back watching the sunset or whatever. I mean, there's times where I follow him on Instagram where I believe so. Either he brought his family with him, but I think there was one day where he flew private to a place, did something for a few hours, then flew back and was able to like be back for dinner and the sunset. Like he's making deposits on both ends at that point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's people out there that are in our network that you should hit up or whatever for what kind of choices they're making. He's up early in the morning to get all his workouts in so that he can be at the driving range with his son. Those are deposits that he has to make for himself to feel like he won the day. So to each their own.
It's beautiful. Well, hey.
But again, too, Monday, what I did want to emphasize with the Financial Friday thing is, you had the tree fall down, and it was kind of a bummer of a Monday with that hurricane weather coming through. But now Friday we see some returns because the work's being put in. So that's a beautiful thing.
It is, man. It's day by day. You got to put the work in. So it is. It's not tough away. Obviously, you got to work. You got to work to make money. You got to build relationships. But everything is about relationships, man. Everything, how I make money is purely on relationships.
Totally.
And treating people right, just being fair, and it's amazing, man. Life is amazing. I love it, dude. Today's gonna be
good thing. It's going to be a good weekend. Rock on, my friend. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time. We are open. The community is open. So the link is in the show description. Click on there. If you have any questions, Matt's email is connected to the contact button. You can fire Matt an email and chat with him. Any questions you have, sign up. We're going to be starting to do those weekly meetings on Wednesdays in the private group ASAP. So we look forward to seeing you there.
Yep.
Until next time, my brother.
All right, my brother. Happy Memorial Day, right?
I don't know. I'd have to look at a calendar. Labor Day?
Labor Day? Oh, yeah, Labor Day. Yeah,
Labor Day, I think. That's coming up. I'll have to look at the calendar. We've been laboring. We've been laboring. All right, bro.